I'm 78 years old. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2005, and my only option was surgery because that's the only one that would give me a length of time.
This is Leroy. He lost his mother to breast cancer, his wife to bladder cancer, and many years ago, he had an older brother who died of cancer at just 37. Leroy has endured 2 bouts with cancer himself. You could call him a cancer survivor, but he might clarify the term.
We don't speak of it ourselves as survivors. We are surviving cancer, because once you've been diagnosed with one cancer, you're waiting for that other shoe to drop. But it makes you more aware of yourself, your life, other people, so that you want to, well, it made me want to reach out to other people.
This is Focus on Your Health on the KJAZ Radio Network. It's brought to you by Kingman Regional Medical Center in historic Kingman, Arizona. I'm T.G. LaFredo. You've already met Leroy. He's surviving cancer and reaching out to others. That's what this week's program is about. In 2005, Leroy underwent surgery for prostate cancer. The procedure was a success, and everything seemed fine for the next 6 years.
2011, I was taking a shower, and I found a lump under my left breast. I went into my doctor and said, "You might want to check this." And they said, "Oh, yes." Had the ultrasound. They found the mass with a blood supply. Went to the surgeon. They did a biopsy. It was malignant. There was no option there. It was the mass was under the left nipple, so they had to remove the breast, and in the process they removed 8 lymph nodes. Recovery from the surgery was very easy. The surgery was outpatient surgery. The recovery was very easy. Because of the early detection, I have never undergone chemotherapy. I've never undergone radiation. I do take 1 pill a day. Been on that regimen for 3 years. I have 2 years left, and that's for the breast cancer.
We make a lot of efforts to get information out about breast cancer in women. And the breast cancer in men, we don't talk enough about. And it's fairly rare. I got a number recently that said 1 in 8 women will suffer breast cancer, whereas 1 in 2,000 men will. When you were diagnosed as 1 in 2,000, what did you learn about male breast cancer?
Well, it's very rare, and as far as I know, because of the lack of screening and the lack of self-awareness by the men to have early detection, that the mortality rate is pretty high on it. I know of 2 or 3 other men who died of breast cancer. In 2014, there were over 200,000 women who diagnosed with breast cancer and 40,000 deaths. Men, 2,000 diagnosed and 400 died. 1 out of every 100 new cases of breast cancer will be men. And they seem to be reluctant or hesitant about talking about it, about even thinking about being aware of their breasts. Mm-hmm. And I think this is, and the denial of, hey, even if I got it, I don't want to know.
Right, right.
My twin brother, I have an identical twin brother, and when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, he wouldn't even take a PSA test because he didn't want to know.
He must have wanted to wring his neck.
Yes, I did. It's hard to say why.
But men are also famous for ignoring something that's...
They won't stop and ask for directions.
That's right. I don't know what you're talking about there. So you were a prostate cancer survivor, and then a few years later you were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yes.
And at that point you were living in Northern California.
Yes.
And what did you find there in terms of support, in terms of people who knew what you were going through?
The prostate cancer was kind of, I didn't look for any support. But when I had the breast cancer surgery and everything, I was pretty rattled. And I started searching. I had to find my own support group, which consisted of one man who had gone through a similar situation. But I had to drive 50 miles one way just to talk to him. So in Kingman here, they have I don't want to say a plethora, but they have a vast group here. They have the cancer support group at the hospital. They have the cancer center, Mr. Joe, who is a super person. I've been here 2 years, and I've never met nicer people than are here in Kingman, Arizona, and especially the medical people that I've contacted. I came down here cold. I got the best primary care doctor that I could ask for. I can't say a bad thing about the people in Kingman or any of the medical treatment or advice. I can do nothing but speak highly of it.
You said you felt compelled when you were diagnosed with breast cancer. You felt compelled to reach out for support, and you had one contact 50 miles away. And I wonder what you got out of that relationship, how that helped you through.
Oh, it was, I'm alone. Nobody else has gone through this, but I found another person.
Right.
And it was an older gentleman my age. We kind of developed an instant rapport. We would just sit and talk, and I could talk about anything. He could talk about anything. I even talked about my wife's health and what I was going through with taking care of her, plus going through this. It helped me physically, and it helped me emotionally to get through it, so that I could go ahead and function.
Yeah.
And then I came down here, and through the support groups here, it was a whole lot different because I don't have to drive as far.
Yeah.
Well, I got involved with the support groups, and I didn't really know. I didn't have any experience with them until I went in, and here are 5 women and myself, and we joke about that. My name is Leroy, and I spell it Leroy, but I go by Leroi, which in French translates to be the king. And since I'm the only male there, yes, I am the king.
The odds aren't bad.
Yes. We cry a lot. We laugh a lot. We hug a lot. We support each other because you just go in and talk. You don't have to talk. You can sit and listen. You don't have to join in. But anytime you want to, and we try to speak to everybody. 2 ladies came in the same month. One was a basket case. She could not talk without crying. She was angry at the treatment that she did or didn't get. The other lady was just kind of confused, bewildered. The last time I saw them both, the basket case is still not yet ready to share and come out with all of her feelings, but she can smile.
I know that what you've been through has really made you want to reach out to others, want to take part.
Yeah, I've always felt, taking care of my late wife, I felt that I was here on this earth for a purpose. And I thought maybe taking care of my wife was the purpose. But as I went along and dealing with my own cancer and talking to other people, After my wife passed away, and I began to become involved with other people in the same circumstances, the support groups, the people here at KRMC, and I felt maybe there was a higher reason that I was here. If my being here, if anything I say, anything I do, any way I reach out, if I can touch one person, get them in to have a screening, to get a checkup, to save a life, then my purpose has been satisfied here. Jennifer, who is the navigator here, they have a program here at KRMC. If you go in and you begin to go through the program, she takes you over and she leads you through and makes things easier. She is a super person.
Yeah, that's Jennifer Rosebrock.
Yes,
She's
Jennifer.
the breast cancer navigator
Yes,
here.
and she calls me passionate about cancer, breast cancer, all cancers. Some people refer to me as obnoxious because I'll stop and talk to anybody at any time, anywhere, about cancer and what I've been through and what I haven't been through. I can't speak to what it's like to go through. I can't imagine what it's like to. Yes, I can, because I watched my mother, but I can't imagine in my own self what it's like to have to go through a session of chemo, a session of radiation, and all of the, well, I've heard horror stories about it, but I can't speak to that because I haven't gone through it. This is why I consider myself so lucky, surviving 2 cancers and never having had to go through it. And this is, I feel like I have to try to reach people and reach them before they get to that point where they have to go through all this. I feel moved to reach out to people, to talk to them, to try to impart any knowledge that I have or any way that I can reach them, so that maybe I can help them get through a problem before it gets to the point as it did. I can't explain what it is when they came out of the operating room and told me that my wife had inoperable terminal bladder cancer. And 7 days later, she passed away. I'm trying to reach people before it gets to that point.
It's break time on Focus on Your Health. We'll be back with more in just a moment. This is the KJazz Radio Network. And welcome back to Focus on Your Health, here on the KJazz Radio Network. This week I'm speaking with Leroy. He's a prostate cancer survivor, a male breast cancer survivor, and he speaks to groups, large and small, to promote cancer awareness and encourage people to get screened.
My claim to fame is that I'm a male breast cancer survivor. And as far as I know, the National Cancer Society has an outreach group, and they asked me if I would be interested in, because they only have one other man on the East Coast who's involved in this type of thing. And right now I'm going through, you have to go through a program to get certified. They have a coordinator, and anybody in the United States can contact the coordinator, and they try to match up as close as possible the survivor and whoever needs the contact with them. And you go from there, and you can contact each other by phone, computer, email, personally, whichever makes it easier for both parties involved. When I started this, they asked me how far I would go to contact people personally. And I told them anywhere in the state of Arizona. Mm-hmm. That's one of the ways that I reach out.
Yeah. You do a lot of speaking. You may need to get yourself an agent.
No. This is not about me. This is about what?
Well, I joke with you, of course,
Yeah.
but you said that early on. You said, I would just like to be, it's not a secret who I am, but I would just like to be Leroy on the show because I'm not the star of the show. It's you're sort of a conduit. You want, yeah.
It's not, this is not about me as a person. This is about me as someone who's gone through it, a little bit of it, but wants to do whatever they can in whatever way they can to enlighten, inform, make people think, do away with some of the myths. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I have a very, very close friend who's a chiropractor. She's into holistic medicine. And she said, you don't have a biopsy because it spreads the cancer. Well, I had the biopsy and I had the surgery. Yeah. But these are some of the myths that I'm trying to dispel.
Right. So here's a scenario for you, Leroy. Let's just say I come up to you and I say, I heard you talk yesterday. I got diagnosed with cancer. I'm just kind of searching right now because I'm overwhelmed. I know you've been through this. I know you have some wisdom on the topic. What kind of advice could you give me at this point?
I've learned pretty much in my 78 years, worrying about things is not going to help. You do everything you can do to solve the problem or take care of the problem. Once you've done everything you can do, it's out of your hands. You can't do anything about it. So to worry is just wasting your energy. The main thing is to get screened, follow up. If you need to talk to somebody, and in your scenario, if you walked up to me and said, and I said, I would say, anytime, day or night, you can contact me or anybody else that, or I'll put you in contact with somebody that you can talk to. You may not be able to talk to me. I learned everybody cannot talk to everybody.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes you need a little rapport, empathy, to where you can really, like if you connect. So, but I can, if I don't know, I'll find out.
Something in talking to you, something that really strikes me is cancer has brought some really difficult times in your life, and yet you've found a way to make something really positive out of all of that.
Yeah, I hate cancer. I hate the word cancer. But having watched my mother, having been with my wife, surviving the two, talking to other people, you just have to do the best you can, and it's, I kind of lost my train of thought.
Well, I'm saying, well, you're honest about it. I am saying that as tough as that has been, I can only imagine that part of it, you've really turned it into a positive thing in the respect that it's allowed you to establish new relationships, it's taken you different places, it's allowed you to be maybe the positive figure in other people's lives that you really wished you had or you wished you had more of when you were going through those tough times.
Oh, yeah. Under my circumstances and the people I've met, and some people may not understand that I really feel blessed having gone through what I went through, having met the people that I've met, and the privilege to be here, to moderate these workshops here, to make people more aware and give them knowledge. It's just, as I'm doing a lot, I feel an inner, peace now that I didn't have before, and it's like I have a joy inside of me that has to get out, and this is the way I do it.
And you describe it as a privilege.
Yes, it is. It's a privilege.
So interesting to me to think that you went through 2 battles with cancer and described that as a privilege. I think that's fantastic. It's inspiring.
I can't thank people enough. KRMC, Jennifer and Terry here, my doctors, yourself for allowing me to be here.
Oh, shucks.
And the Coleman Foundation to feel or have enough confidence in me that I can possibly do a little good. And as a volunteer, I represent them when I'm involved with their functions, as the workshop today. We had 2 very good classes. We had a good turnout. We would like to see more. Like I say, I can't thank the people that have let me be me now enough.
Is there anything that we need to talk about that we haven't, or have we covered it pretty well?
Well, I could probably talk from now until doomsday, but
don't you threaten me, mister.
Right now,
we're good.
Well, I'm new. This was my first time moderating the 2 workshops with Terry. So I'm kind of right now, I'm kind of wrung out. And at my age, sometimes you're talking about one thing and you forget.
That happens at my age too, Leroy.
I would say I believe in the hereafter, because every time I walk in a room, I wonder why I'm here, what I'm here after.
Leroy, thank you so much for being with me today.
Once again, I'd like to thank the Coleman Foundation, KRMC, yourself, just to allow me, and I hope possibly you might ask me back again.
I would love to have you back.
Thank you very much.
That's Leroy, and if you'd like to reach him, he'd like to hear from you. His email address is pinkcap1percenter@gmail.com. That's PINKCAP, 1, PERCENTER @gmail.com. And if you're due for your cancer screening, please call the KRMC Imaging Center scheduling line at 928-757-2727. That's 757-2727. That's this week's show. My thanks to Sharon Kolb with Susan G. Komen Central and Northern Arizona, and Terry Williams with KRMC Public Relations. They made this episode possible. I'm T.G. LaFredo, and thank you for listening. Please join me next time for another edition of Focus on Your Health, right here on the KJazz Radio Network.